everyone. I am Matthew Thomas. This is Super Cool Radio. I have a great guest with me at this time. Very recently, they released a killer new single entitled Sham. Please welcome Lauren of DramaScream.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me here on Super Cool Radio.
Yes.
And I know we have much to discuss before we jump into everything. A fun question to kick us off. What music have you been listening to this week?
The Perfect Circle.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that, actually, but yeah, they're an awesome band.
Yeah, I've been listening to their 13th Step album all week.
Very nice. That is a really good one. Is that their first one, or I think that's their
second?
That's their second. Okay. Very good. Yeah, no, they're very cool. I mean, Maynard is Maynard, so he's awesome. So I totally understand.
Yeah, I just had to not listen to new music for a while.
No, I totally get you. I've been listening to Motorhead and Alice Cooper, so I feel you on that.
Yeah.
So for you, before DramaScream, how did you get started as a musician?
I sang in choir and stuff in school, but I never liked the music. But I needed the art credit or the music credit or whatever the hell they call it to graduate, because in New York you have to have all these credits. So I started doing that, and then I started listening to metal, and I started writing lyrics in my room, and I would record myself and play it back. And that's when I started really getting into it. And then in college, I tried to find bands. I dated a drummer, and that kind of sparked my interest because he was in a metal band. So I was like, oh, this is really cool, but I didn't think I could do it because there wasn't that many females doing it. And every time I would bring it up, it was oh, you should just do acoustic, or you should do this. So it kind of just slowly happened. I started playing acoustic, so I started playing acoustically with friends and singing, and then I started auditioning for bands, and they kept just being oh, well, we want a guy, and I'm like, okay, all right, cool. Or they're we're afraid you're too timid, or we're afraid you're gonna be. So I never really got an opportunity. It was just send files through GarageBand or whatever, and I just didn't find anybody until one day I auditioned for a cover band, and they were oh, you're awesome. And I said, oh, cool, thanks. So I joined them, and Steve was the guitar player, who's my guitar player now. And we started writing originals, and that's how it kind of all came around. And then once I started playing out in our scene and doing covers, then all of a sudden I was doing different covers. So I didn't want to do the basic ones. So I started doing metal covers, whatever. And people were oh, you should be in this band. Oh, you should. And then people came out of the woodwork after they saw I could scream and stuff. Cause I didn't really feel I don't know. I don't know. So then that happened, and on and off through cover bands. And I tried an original project in college, and it kind of just didn't pan out because everyone was older and they had lives, so it didn't work. But then DramaScream kind of took a few years for it to happen, but it happened.
No, for sure, right. And for you, because obviously, listening to DramaScream, you got intense, you can scream, you can have the great vocals. How was it refining your vocals?
It was a process, and it's still a process. So my first influences were Flyleaf, Linkin Park, Hailstorm a little bit later, and then Killswitch Engage. When I first heard of Killswitch Engage, the first song was End of Heartache that I heard, obviously, and Howard Jones was the oh my god with screams, and same with Linkin Park, Chester's screams. And that's kind of how I started to try to relate, but I didn't realize screaming wasn't supposed to take as much effort. So when I first started screaming, it sounded probably cool, but I couldn't talk after. I'm oh, that's how it's supposed to be. So I did that, and I started kind of messing with my singing voice. And then I started taking vocal lessons, and I learned, okay, well, I need to warm up and cool down and blah, blah, blah. So It's been various. Like this past year, I just had to like rewire my voice because I had COVID, and I'm like been going to like speech therapy because I got this weird issue where I don't even know how to breathe properly anymore. Apparently, they told me, and I was like, oh, I thought I knew how to breathe. I'm alive, but so it's been an up and down thing with my voice. But I'm big into vocal health, so like I don't drink before I sing or whatever. I still take voice lessons. I haven't stopped because I still have things that I need to work on. I'm never happy with it. So that's kind of like my vocal. I'm still on the vocal journey, I guess.
I got you for sure. Even for me, like I'm a podcaster. I'm not a vocalist or a musician of that sort. And for me, I was struggling a lot lately with my voice. That I wasn't. I was doing a lot of interviews and voiceovers and stuff, and I was really struggling to with my voice. So I was looking for how to train my voice, how to protect my voice, and all that stuff. So I'm not a vocalist, but yet I still do similar stuff before I even do stuff.
Yeah, it is the same. It's speaking and singing, they're not that far off. So like the stuff I do for speech therapy and the stuff I do for singing are pretty similar, except for speech therapy, she doesn't make me do scales. So.
Yeah, gotcha. And then I was at a party and we were playing Rock Band, and I decided to do like Anthrax, and my brother was like, you could totally sing some Anthrax. And I was like, oh, sure, I could totally do this. And then I almost blew my voice out. And I'm like, I should actually practice or warm up or not do this.
Right. That's the biggest thing. People don't understand, like, well, people who don't scream don't understand. They think like, oh, you're just making noise and that's all it is. People who don't scream or sing like heavy stuff, they're like, oh, you're just ruining your voice and this is not blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I've been doing it for years. I'm not ruining my voice. It's just it's like a balancing act. Like if you don't have enough air pressure, then it sounds like a dying cat. But if you have too much air pressure, you can blow your voice. So there's just like this thing that you do when you make the sounds. And some screams are easier, some screams are harder, but like, yeah, when you do heavy vocals, people don't realize they're actually not heavy. It's I use more air to sing than I do to scream.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, there's actually a lot to it more than just making noise. And I don't think people actually understand that. And I never really did till I started doing like podcasting. I know, man, it's not just talking, or screaming. There's actually stuff to do, like, internally for yourself.
It's like trying to run. It's like running a marathon. You got to train.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And for you, for DramaScream, so I know you touched on it a little bit, but like, how did it come together officially, and like how did you come up with the name?
So officially came together. Steve and I were like, yeah, we're gonna start this, and we started auditioning people, and we had a revolving door of musicians that wanted to be in it, but then once they realized what the original scene was about, they were like, wait, in my cover band, I make all this money. And I was like, welcome to original music. Like, that's not how it works. So that was a thing. And luckily we found, Justin and Greg, and they're in it and they're great and we love them. So that's kind of how, like, we knew Greg from another band, and I had somebody be like, hey, ask him if he'd be interested. And he came in and loved everything we did. We loved his vibe. So it just kind of worked. And then Justin we found because I had a friend recommend him. And so we were having auditions, and we had all these people that wanted to audition. And Justin was our first audition. He came in, he knew more music than we expected him to. He was so good. We were just like, yeah, you want to play this weekend? We were like, we got a show. You want to? So it was like, and we weren't gonna like bust, like, beat around the bush. We were just, yeah, you're in. It was just like that, and we all clicked and got along. So same sense of humor. So that's how we came together. The band name was Steve and I. We were like arguing back and forth because we were trying to find names. We even did that stupid band name generator because every name was taken. Like, Cat Farts was like, I swear to God, everything was taken. And I was like, I want something cool. And then some of the stuff we thought of was really cool, but it was like death metal. Like, no. So then he's like, oh, what if we did something with your name? And I'm like, no, I don't want to do anything with my actual name. And first of all, no one can pronounce my real last name. So no one would know. That's stupid. And then my first name, Lauren, like, that's not intimidating. So we couldn't do anything with that. And then he said something about, oh, well, you're wicked dramatic. Like, you're a drama queen. And I'm like, I feel like that's a band name, but what if we did something like drama something? And I don't know if he said scream or I said scream. And we kind of thought about it and we wrote it out. And then we kept writing it out and thinking like, okay, well, DramaScream, so like I'm super animated and dramatic, and that's where I was like, okay, yes. And screams because I do screams, but also we were like, okay, so this would be good because we actually can't stand drama. And like the whole idea of like drama scream, like, oh my God, I can't stand it. So that was also a thing. And it kind of just stuck. And I mean, I was good with it. And Steve was like, I don't know. But now that it's our band name and people know us by it, he's accepted it into his heart. So, yeah, that's how it happened.
I'm glad he's finally accepted it.
He's accepted it.
I really dig it. You know, it's different. Plus, I know you guys stylize it a little bit different too. So I think it's really cool.
Thank you.
But very recently, for you guys, you released a brand new single that is Sham that I very much enjoy. I've had that on repeat this whole week, actually. So how was it writing and recording a new single?
So we went into it like, we're going to write different. We wanted to write just different. Like every CD we try to make different and obviously better. But, and I'm like, we wanted to kind of do like a little of an old school, like heavier, chunky vibe on their side. And I wanted to just like dive into different things, but still kind of keep my signature stuff. And honestly, before I went into the studio, this was the song, like of all the songs that they gave me, this was the one song that I was like, okay, I can write to this. Because every other song they gave me, I was like, fuck you. I don't even know what I can't. It was like rhythmically was a bit, I was, oh my God, we were fighting. The band was, I was fighting with them. I'm like, guys, what the fuck am I supposed to? So there was that component. So this was the one song that I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. But the thing about me is when I go into the studio, I don't actually have anything prepared. I do better on the fly. So I had an idea, but I didn't have anything concrete, because if I have an idea, what I'll do is I will talk myself out of that idea. Like I will be like, oh, I'm going to put this out. Oh, wait, I can change this, but I can make this better. So I've learned that because I'm such a perfectionist, it's not always good. So for me, like I know some people, they take time writing out lyrics and I'm like, oh my God, God bless you. Because no, I go in, I spit out whatever melody and I spit out some lyrics and I think about what the song makes me think about. I write the song literally as I'm recording it. I sit on the demo for a day or two and then I go back. With this song, it was kind of unique because I put it down and the next day I had to go back knowing I could only put this single down because I had to go on vocal rest for a month, because I was just after I had COVID, I had laryngitis for a month, tried to sing through laryngitis. And I had what was called like pre-nodular thickening. So I don't have nodes, I'm good now, but I was on my way to having them. So I'm like, fuck, I got to put this one down. I got to nail it and I got to really like it. So I went in and I listened to it and I'm like, this really makes me think of like a fuck you song, like a really, in a weird way, to just be like, all these people that are in power. I mean, originally the song was going to have a different name. What inspired me to write the song was, this is going to sound really dark and twisted, was sex trafficking. There's been a lot of rumors about people where we are, where other things are, that all these people in these positions of power are doing these awful things, right? And I'm like, holy shit, like, and maybe it is true, maybe it's not, but there are people that do that, right? So there's all of these people in power and they're always taking their power and they're always using it and they're not using it for good. And all you see in the light, right? All you see is, oh, look at what this person bought and look, they're a philanthropist. But really what they are is a piece of shit. And I'm not saying everyone's like that and all, you know, it's not like, but there's just so much of it and so much of the hypocrisy that I was like, fuck it. All bets are off. This is what we're going to write about. And then you see people like, oh, she's so pretty, blah, 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 blah. And it's like all filtered, trying to make people feel shit. And I'm so sick of I'm just so sick of it. It's just, it's everywhere. It's everything. COVID was so depressing because all you did was watch these people's like lives. And it's like, oh, it's so perfect. It's so great. But really, you know, what happens when no one's looking? And we all have our skeletons. So it was that was the premise of the song. So I went in and I did it. And it kind of just clicked once I got in there. So that was how Sham came about. The music was written first. They usually write the music first. And then I go in and I throw stuff down. One song that we did, I completely changed, and I was like, oh, we don't need this. We haven't released that one yet, but it'll be a good one once we do. But that's how Sham kind of came about. It was originally going to be called, it was in Latin, it's called a ugulum. It means a throat, but literally like cutthroat, like a slaughter. And I wanted to name it that because I was like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, I'm into Tool and I'm into like weird names. And then the whole band's like, is that saying Lululemon? I'm like, what? I was like, no, it does not say that. So the name was the hardest part. That's
No.
Yeah, Lululemon. So like everyone, and actually the original name. So Steve names the songs, and it was actually originally called Turd. We have a song called F Shack. Yeah. So all the original names of songs, because he doesn't, we don't have them. So I was like, they're like, we could just leave it Turd. I'm like, yeah, let's name it Turd. Let's do that. So it's actually called Turd. So there's that.
All right. I definitely I like the the inspiration for Sham as well, because I had a similar conversation, like I think it was like last week or something, like with like social media and how it's not very much like there is real stuff on social media, but a lot of it is not really how it's perceived or really how it looks. So I was having a conversation with one of my friends about that because I was getting frustrated, just looking like what I do compared to like other people do, and it's like, man, I'm trying way too hard and not getting anywhere compared to other people not trying as hard.
We're not alone. We say this every day. I'm just like, fuck it, I'm done. And then I'm like, no, fuck that, I'm not done because they fucking did it. But then you find out how much people spend, and you're just like realize it's a money racket. And if you have tons of money to invest, then you'll get ahead further. And that's probably the most disheartening thing. Probably.
No, it definitely is. It unfortunately, it's not the quality of the content anymore. It's how much money you have to spend. And unfortunately, and yeah, I don't want to assume, maybe you're in the same boat. I don't have that much money to spend on social media.
No, I'm like, I'm trying to put out quality stuff, so we spend the money on that, and then they're like, here, you can get, if you spend like $1,000, I'll put you on this sweet show with 20. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. And it does not. So like we've sort of kind of figured out like who to push our stuff to because they've done right by us. So there's those things, and it's kind of trial and error. But we've been burned before. It's a shitty thing to learn, but it sucks. Or you go to play a show and people call it a festival, and it's not a festival. None of the speakers match. We've had that happen. I got electrocuted by a microphone. Like I had to hold it like this, and I went to sing, and it zapped me.
Ooh.
Yeah, I did a whole set like that. So that was a really interesting festival.
Yeah, it also doesn't sound like much of a festival either.
It wasn't. Oh, it was not. It was probably one of the worst experiences of our lives. We all looked at each other like, what the fuck? So we check into things now before we do them. Because we're like, oh, fest, that's got to be legit. No, not always.
Yeah, no, I totally feel that. Unfortunately, especially like in the entertainment industry, there's so much, like scams or just things that are misrepresented and stuff. And I experienced it. Like I don't know. As soon as I started my business email account, I get a bunch of I apparently have a bunch of relatives in countries that I've never been to.
Right.
That owe me money.
Anything you post new, they're like, "Oh, promote it on my." Yeah. You're like, oh, okay, no. Or they like DM you, "Hey, I'm gonna get you all these views." Okay, do it. I'm not paying you any money, so go ahead, have fun. I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly, and it's funny. I was hoping to set up an account for for somebody else, and I like how Instagram says, "Yeah, we're fighting against bots, so you have to go through everything," and yet. Every time I post, I get all these bots to tell me to pay them money. It's like, I don't think you're doing very well.
Yeah, it's always like, and so it's our big joke in the band. We're like promot, PROMOT, because they always say it. So we just like say it back to the bot now. We're like, okay, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, I used to try to engage with them just to make fun of them, but honestly, I just got tired. There's millions out there, and I'm wasting my time. I spend my energy elsewhere now. Yeah,
we just like throw a heart or like a turd symbol and. Whatever.
I think I'll have to start doing that. I just delete them because I just get so tired of it. And but yeah, social media is always a great experience.
It is the best and worst thing that ever happened to us.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It can be, when used like properly, it can be a lot of good to it, but
a lot of bands. I won't say that it won't. It has really helped bands that would have never gotten out there, but it's also shitty.
Yes, it is. Unfortunately. But for you guys, I could talk about this all day just because I've been very frustrated with it lately, but I won't. For you guys, you also released a music video for Sham. It looked like a really great time. So how was it filming it?
It was good. It was really good. It was weird because we weren't sure how we were going to do things, and we're just like, well, let's just see. So like the parts where I'm like laying down and there's money flying all around, like it looks like it's, so we had to take like cardboard boxes and create like a fortress around me, and then get a leaf blower and blow the money and like try to, and I'm like trying to make it look good. And it was so awkward because like you're trying to look up, so I'm trying to have a double chin, and I'm like, and there was one shot where I was like, I kind of look like I gotta poop. We got to get rid of that shot. So that was funny. And then we get to just throw all the money. Obviously, throwing the money was fun. Like one of us would play and we'd just be throwing all this money. And then the end scene was the best because I got to like take the Hershey syrup or whatever, and I just got to like smear it all over the band. And then that was the end scene was my favorite, when we all turned into like the other, you know, the dark side of whoever we were supposed to be. And that was fun. We ended up like, just like, it was like stuck, encrusted. Like I had to shower. Like it was everywhere on me that it could be. So that was an experience.
I've talked to other bands who've used like, you know, like the fake blood and syrup and stuff. They say it always feels weird. So
yeah, especially when it's like, I was like, had it in my mouth and I'm like, I'm trying to like make it, and like you're trying to like shoot it out at the right time. So then you have to redo it and you're like, and it just tastes like shit. So it's fun. It's fun.
Sounds like it.
It is. It's not like the artist music video we've ever done. There's our old video, Masochist. Our friend came home from the army and I got to beat the shit out of him. And it was fun, but also scary because I was like, I'd punch him and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. So then we'd have to redo the take because I'd punch him and then apologize within the take. So this was still pretty, you know.
You gotta wait a few moments and apologize outside of the take.
Yes. I was like, so sorry.
But like developing, because obviously there's a few different scenes going on in Sham. So like, how'd you guys like develop the idea for the music video?
It's gonna become a shock. We wanted like all these different things to happen. So I wanted to wear a white suit, couldn't find a white suit, whatever. We knew we wanted to be in suits. And I talked about it with our guy that does our videos, Eric, and I'm like, I want to reveal that we're, you know, like there's money and there's all these things going on around us. And like we're business people, but like who we really are like evil people in the darkness of it. And he's like, okay, we can try to do this and that. And like at first we thought maybe I should wear like a beauty queen dress and, you know, have the guys be like, oh, blah, blah. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to be that. Like, that's not me. Right. And we went and realized, because like I want to be like, oh, no, I'm going to be the bitch in the power tie. Like, let me do this. So we got that. And then I ordered a bunch of money. He ordered a bunch of fake money. And then we were like, well, once we start, we'll figure out where we want to go from there. Like we didn't have a clear, shocking, like our music, we didn't have a clear plan. We just knew what we wanted. And so I bought all the stuff that I thought we would need. And then we kind of played it from there. Like the money, me laying down and throwing money came from, I was laying down and they were taking a picture. We're like, oh, we should get some shots like that. And we're like, oh, okay, cool. The green and red lights that we used, we knew we wanted to go with the green. We actually didn't know we were going to want to use the red, but we liked the contrast. And the way he shot the video was different than any other video we've ever shot. So it was just like that really, I got inspired by I'm So Sick by Flyleaf. The way that video was done, I really thought it was cool. And I said, you know, he's like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know, these new videos, everything just kind of looked the same to me. And I was like, I kind of like how that was shot, how it was kind of blurry, but then clear and then focused. So that was how we got the idea, if that answers the question. I don't know.
Yes, it does. But no, it turned out really awesome, especially with all the different scenes and the story being told in the music video. I really enjoyed it, and it turned out really awesome.
Thank you. We tried. We tried to be awesome.
Effort's always appreciated, especially when you're awesome with it. But I'm going to leave a link in the description of this podcast for the music video. Make sure to check it out as well if you have not already. But as I'm wrapping up this interview, I got a question for you that I'm putting on the spot a little bit. What has been your favorite moment from DramaScream so far?
Shit. Oh, man. Okay, so I guess
you can pick a few if necessary.
Okay, so when we played Metal in the Mountains last year, because it was like COVID had screwed us 2 years in a row, so that was fun. But we got to play Metal in the Mountains, and we weren't sure if we were going to go on, and we were going on at like an earlier time on a Sunday, and we ended up like pulling a really good crowd, and it was the coolest feeling to have people come up to us that like, and it's happened before, but when we were in West Virginia, so I'm like, there's no way. And we had like a bunch of people come up to us and tell us like, oh, we've been listening to you and we came here to see you. And then the same thing happened. So the day before we had played Indiana, and we played this like festival thing, or no, Jesus Christ, not the day before. I'm such a liar. The month before we played in Indiana. And we had the same thing happen, and we were just like slowly realizing, we were like, so this is why I love the internet, right? That people came to see us, and it was a very weird feeling, because when you play in your hometown, it's like, oh, my mom came and my dad came, and like your friends come, you know, we do well in town, but it's cool to have perfect strangers have that connection. You like, oh, I love the way you say, and this song helped me get through this, and you're just like, holy crap. So that was a moment of, I don't care what happens, we're going to keep going, because if we can do this for one person, then fuck it. Like, that's all that really matters. So that was a really cool moment. We all had to go to the bathroom in the woods. that was a cool moment. God. Oh, so it happened the night before a show, but it's like just a funny story. So our drummer had his window down, and an owl came in the car and hit him in the head. And then it went after his friend, so his friend like punched the owl. And then like they just stopped the car, whatever, the owl got out. So our drummer like calls us the next day and he's like, dude, I got hit by a fucking owl. I'm like, what do you mean you hit by? He's like, no, I think I have a concussion. The owl hit him so hard that he was like concussed. And we ended up playing like a show the next day with our drummer who was concussed by an owl. And that is probably one of my favorite moments, even though I didn't get to see him get hit in the head. Like, what are the odds of that happening?
I would say low, but not zero, as it turns out.
Oh, he had his window down, and that motherfucker just came right in and popped him. And the best part was he's like, no, my friend didn't know what to do, so he punched. Like, could you just imagine being in the, like, what are you doing? And then I was like, was the owl okay? He's like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm like, I worry because, And then I think we did something like, and then one of the bands we were playing was like, hey, and obviously Justin's our drummer. He's like, I'll get you. Like, we just kept doing cheesy, like, owl jokes. And he's like, fuck you guys. I'm like, oh, we love you though. So he's never gonna live that one down. That's my favorite.
Just the mental image that for me.
Those cute little owls with a little, the big old eyes.
Yeah, but I've heard they're actually pretty like vicious. Like especially if they're on the attack, I've heard they're pretty mean. When
they go through your car window.
Yeah, which again, the odds of doing that are very low, but not zero.
Yeah. He didn't hit it. Well, he's hit a deer before, but the owl took him out. And people are like, seriously? I'm like, no, dead serious. He got a concussion. Fucking owl hit him right in the head. And like you tried to say it seriously, and you would just keep laughing. Like you're like, I can't do this.
Yeah, definitely. No, just it's a funny sentence of words.
So that's a good, right? That's a good one. It's probably the first time anyone's ever had that.
Yeah, that first ever owl-related story on my podcast. So yes,
we were like, oh, you had a run by hooting. He didn't like that. But we had like so many cheesy, terrible jokes for like a year at least, and we still like reference it every now and again. I think we got him an owl or something. Like we got him. We always do, yeah. So that was fun.
Nice. Come on, that's like the unexpected moments in life where like, come on, they're
literally the best. They're the best. Yeah. Other than our fans, like I love rocking out on stage and all that. But if I really think back, like to what how will that ever happen again? If it does, I'm gonna get a hold of you and be like, guess what fucking happened? Another one.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually, I live in Indiana, so like there's, haven't seen really any owls. There was a hawk that was in actually my backyard, and there's a little bird like in the grass in my backyard, and then you just see a hawk just attack it. And I was like, wow, I've never seen that. Like I just live in a normal neighborhood, residential neighborhood. We don't
like
have
normal Indiana, not this barbaric.
I live in northern Indiana, so not as the farther south you go, there's more hills and a lot more wildlife, but not so much northern Indiana.
You played in Muncie, Indiana. Does that mean anything?
Yes, I've been there.
Okay, I don't know. You can tell me anything, and I'd be like, yeah, totally. I have no idea. I'm geographically the worst. The band's like, just show her where it is. She's not gonna fucking find it. I'm not able to drive anything.
Yeah, that's more southern Indiana, closer to Ohio. So yeah, no, I've been there. My brother actually lived there for a little bit for job training. So yeah, I visited there like once or twice. So yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Perfect. All right.
Perfect.
So you got the Indiana connection in there. I see. I interviewed somebody who he buys wax for his candles from Indiana. So that was my last podcast, and now you guys. So
look at that, and now you got owls. So.
Exactly. I'm gonna have to watch out for those when I leave my house too.
Yeah, well, if you leave your window down, you come right in, get you. Knock this, ring your fucking bell, man. I don't know.
And I've had a concussion too. They're not fun.
No, I got one playing lacrosse. How'd you get yours?
Let's see. So I used to be a mechanic, and I was under a car, which is like has the lift, which is like the metal poles. And I went to turn my head, and I happened to be right by the lift. So as soon as I turned my head, I smacked like the back of it.
Okay, yeah.
So that was fun. And I got tinnitus because of it. So that was even better.
Really? Yeah. Shit. That's the worst.
Yep. And then, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks. I think it was like 2 weeks later, I got another one because someone was improperly using a machine and like the arm fell on top of my head. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And I started feeling dizzy, and I was like, oh,
you're right now. Like you're so.
There's a reason I don't work on cars anymore.
I would say not. Dear God.
So enough with my medical history of stuff.
Glad you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing fine. The tinnitus for the most part went away, so right. I'm doing A-okay.
Perfect.
As for you, so the plans for DramaScream for the rest of this year, what do you have in the works?
We're playing a festival in town. It's a real festival, so that's cool. In June, and then we had we were supposed to play at a bigger venue in Syracuse with the band September Morning, and their bus broke down. So then that got canceled and rescheduled, and we weren't allowed to book anything for a month because we were playing there. So that was a fun thing. And so that got rescheduled. And then the other festival we were supposed to play Metal in the Mountains, which I totally get. They are not having it this year because they're not sure about what's going on with Ginger, and that was their headliner. Yeah. So yeah. We got like a couple other like little things. We're in the process right now though of putting together like a small tour, I think, and working on some stuff. Maybe going to Ohio again, and a little bit of travel though. We have a lot more music to do. We're going to be in the studio a lot, and we have more music videos to come out though. Like we did a Linkin Park cover of "Given Up," and we want to do we wanted to do a video in a hockey rink and beat the shit out of each other, but the hockey rink is already closed where we are, so we're gonna beat the shit out of each other somewhere else. But we're gonna release that, and then we redid one of our other songs, and we have like 4 or 5 more singles off this next album. Then, so we have a lot of stuff to do.
I'm glad you guys are staying busy. Hopefully, you get some more shows coming up as well. And I think you just find like an empty parking lot to beat people up in,
I know, but I wanted something fun, like maybe like roller derby or I don't know, something cool. I wanted the ice skating because I really wanted to play on the ice. It was more of an ego thing, like I just want to play in the ice, but
I gotcha.
It didn't work out. Well, we'll figure it out.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I've actually been to roller derby too. It gets intense sometimes.
I've never been.
Oh. Yeah, we have a local team in South Bend, so
I know that there's something around here. But Hailstorm did a video in one, so I'm like,
that's.
So it's like, I wanted to do. So now if someone steals my video, this is on record. I wanted to do it on the ice rink.
That's good to know, and please don't sue me.
I won't. It's fine. We're all. It doesn't really matter.
All I have is like 100 super cool radio keychains, so that's all you get.
Hey, I got a lot of keys. Not really.
Oh, I'm drunk.
Actually, everything's pretty much keyless.
Well, if you get 100 keys, let me know.
I will. You're going to be the first person I'm like, I need a fucking keychain. Guess what? Guess who I'm calling? You. I want the damn keychain.
Well, all right. Well, you know how to contact me. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. Anyway, as for you, before I sign off, if people are interested, where can they check out DramaScream online?
All over. No. So YouTube, just type in DramaScream. We're on YouTube. We have Bandcamp, Instagram, Facebook. We suck at Twitter. No, we really suck at Twitter. TikTok, we're starting to do. And we're on, did I say Spotify? I don't know.
You didn't, but now you did.
Hey, look at that. And then iTunes, all the major streaming platforms. I don't know. Maybe we're on like Pandora or something too. I don't really know. I don't use it. But you can find us there, or you can track us down and be really creepy.
All right, first option, preferably.
Preferably, yeah, because I got dogs and stuff, so I don't want anybody getting hurt. But yeah, just come find us. And we're on, like I said, we're on the TikTok. TikTok's another hard one for me because I love TikTok, like love watching the videos, but I am such a let's do it live. So I have to record myself pretending like I'm live, but it's clearly scripted. So I'm like, you'll never guess what? And I'm like, I feel like an idiot. So I can't, I'm so bad at it. So I didn't know that was gonna, you knew, you hit record, you knew. That's what I hate about it. You'll never guess what my song. I was sitting here at my computer and I was like, oh my God, I have an idea. I can't record. I don't know how people do it. I can't take myself seriously. I'm like, no. So I'll be better at it. If you follow us on TikTok, I'll get better at it. Probably.
So you should get better with every follower on TikTok.
Yes, I will. And I will personally send you a heart emoji / turd emoji. Look at that.
Yeah, that to look forward to then.
See?
Thank you so much, Lauren, for hanging out with me here at Super Cool Radio. Had a wonderful time chatting with you about all things DramaScream and everything else that we discussed.
Thank you for having us. Maybe we'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, of course. You guys are always welcome. I had a great time.
Yes, watch those owls.
Yeah, yes. Yes, watch out for owls and, concussions and all that stuff.
Yes. Glad that you're doing well.
Hey, I'm doing all right. For Lord of DramaScream, I'm your host, as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.